The Porta-Potty.
Yeah,
Somebody literally stole a Porta-Potty.
They stole the Porta-Johns. You're not the first person, you're not the last person to just be like, why would you take Porta-Johns off of a job site? Of all things, you know.
My
of
goodness.
all the material and tools that are in this building, you steal 2 Porta-Johns that haven't been serviced in a week. So
What's going on, folks? Eddie Carrington, mayor of Flux City. Today I had a chance to stop by the aquarium on Belle Isle just to kind of clear my mind a bit. I've been sitting in front of a computer trying to get a number of to-dos done, and every so often I like to get out and get some fresh air and go visit spots that are some of my favorite in the city, and the conservatory and the aquarium are on that list. But the aquarium just had its 120th birthday this past Sunday, and so I just wanted to come by and check it out and donate a little bit of cash to the cause. They're open on Thursdays now through the end of August due to a donation from, I think, Comerica Bank, but really a gem in the city of Detroit. One of the oldest aquariums in the world, 5th oldest in the world, the oldest in North America, and it's a really good spot to come out, you know, reset yourself, bring your family, and yeah, check it out when you get a chance.
Go see if there's some fish outside.
Hey, how are you?
Side part of the building where we've got the main parking lot, and then we've also got the patio here. So the decision was made to switch from a cobblestone patio to something called an exposed aggregate concrete. So that's kind of what this is. The way it works is when they pour the concrete, they add a lot of small aggregate stone to the concrete mix, and then they pour it like they normally would any other concrete. But then after they've poured and finished it, they actually spray something called a cure retarder on top of the concrete. And what that does is it slows down the curing process of probably the top, quarter inch of the concrete here. And so the rest of it will cure underneath like normal concrete, but then that top quarter inch, 1/8 inch it won't cure as fast. And so about 4 hours after they pour, they come through with a power washer and they spray off the top thin layer of concrete that hasn't cured, and it gives that exposed aggregate look. And then a day after, they come by and do an acid wash on it to clean up this exposed stone. And then what they haven't done yet, but what they will do, is they're going to put a seal on top of this, which is going to complete the look and complete the process of how they actually do exposed aggregate concrete. And obviously here we've left 3 boxes open between the patio and the sidewalk. These will be for our 3 trees that'll get installed. So our landscaper is going to be in here mid to late next week to start that process, but you'll have trees in these locations going in pretty soon here. So
That's good, man. What you guys do with the Porta-Potties?
Oh, the Porta-Potties. Well, those actually got taken.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Wait.
A couple weeks ago, we had Porta-Johns, 2 of them, right on the front here, and I guess they were just in plain sight. And so we actually had people come by on a Thursday night and literally take them. They
The porta potty.
yeah,
Somebody literally
they
stole a porta
They
potty.
stole the porta johns. You're not the first person. You're not the last person to just be like, "Why would you take porta johns off of a job site?" Of all things, you know.
My
Of
goodness.
all the material and tools that are in this building, you steal 2 porta johns that haven't been serviced in a week. So
Oh my goodness.
yeah, it was kind of a first for me. I'd never heard of anything like that. But yeah,
What do you think they're going to do with those
things?
things?
Maybe someone runs a small side business. Maybe someone had a party. Who knows?
They got to clean those things out before they can.
I honestly don't. I don't envy them, but if
You're
they want
kidding
them,
me,
I
man.
guess
Somebody
I guess
stole
they
the
needed
porta
them.
potties.
Yeah, I guess they needed them. So,
Wow.
but yeah, so now we've got them on the back wall here, and you can see our cameras. We've got spaced about 2 on every side of the building, and they're good. They're 180-degree cameras. So, you know, we're monitoring the entire perimeter of the building now. So,
Including the porta potties.
yep, got to keep an eye on them. We need those contractors. We need them. So that's what we're looking at, and then this will get asphalt next week. But we had to come back through and do a better grade of the site. We had some wet spots that we had to excavate and reinstall some aggregate. So we've left them a small pile in case they're a little picky. Sometimes contractors are a little picky, you know. So we've given them that, and we're all ready for them now. So, and then right next to the porta johns, you actually can see these brackets that are mounted to the bottom of this shaft here. So this shaft encloses a lot of our future ductwork and gas lines for our future kitchen tenant. And so, you know, there's a lot of weight and framing and sheathing on here. So what we did is we added some brackets, some heavy duty brackets on the bottom side here, just to, you know, stabilize and hold any additional weight that might fall on that. And then what we'll do next week or the week after is we'll actually add some finish material there as well. To give it a complete look. So all of our gas lines for each individual unit, and then also for the future kitchen space and stuff like that. We've got a unit meter for each one, and then our plumber made his connections with his piping. He also has to paint all of his piping as well, because it's all exterior. So anything that protrudes through the exterior has to be painted. So he'll come through and do that probably next week when he's back on site, to start installing finishes on our 3rd floor, because we're actually going to be painted out by next week on the 3rd floor. So we'll start our finishes. Over here, we've got the smaller parking lot, and we've basically finished almost all concrete work that's going to get done. So you'll see here we've got the trash enclosure we've got the bollards, so that's to protect our finished wall here. So they put 2 on the front and then 2 in the back here, just to protect when the trash guy comes and picks up dumpsters, he's not slamming it into the walls and, you know, destroying any masonry. And then this stuff down here, this concrete's an 8-inch reinforced concrete, again, to handle the weight of the truck coming up and to handle the weight of the dumpster in the enclosure as well. So that's what we're working with here. This here is all going to be a green belt, and then this will be a continuation of the asphalt as well in this lot here. So
And we got landscaping starting soon.
next week, probably Wednesday, right around that time frame, they'll be coming in here and starting all that.
So what was the process of digging up this old parking lot next to an existing structure that we don't own? Like, how careful and mindful do you have to be?
I mean, obviously you have to be very careful, especially when you have utilities like the gas line, you know, basically kind of running through the edge of your lot. So you really got to be careful when you're pulling anything out. We had everything from an ATM structure over here. We had a guardrail with reinforced metal I-beams going into the ground, and then we had asphalt that we were pulling out. So especially when you're next to another tenant, you got to be very careful and mindful of every little movement that you're making. You know, careful not to puncture a gas line or an electrical line or anything like that. So, but you know, our operators that we have in here for that work are pretty experienced, pretty good at what they do.
Yep.
And obviously, you know, you can see it looks a lot different than when we started with it. And,
Absolutely.
We're ready for the finishing touches for it. So.
I'm noticing 3 drains. I think the main lot we have only has 2.
Yeah, so I'll be honest, there was 1 drain here initially, and then I believe we added 2 to this parking lot over here. I don't exactly know why it was, but I can make an educated guess to say that because we have a building with no gutters on this side, they were maybe trying to account for any additional rainfall that might come off the side. But it does look like this building is pitched back to a single gutter on the back here. So I'll be honest, I don't know why there are 3 drains over here. You know, for a smaller lot than the one on the other side, it's definitely overkill. But you know, can't be too careful, I suppose.
Yeah.
And then you can see here we've got our light pole bases in, and so those are ready to receive our large light poles. There's one here, and then there's 2 in the other parking lot. But yeah, those concrete bollards go down probably 5 feet, I believe. So you've got a 2-foot diameter by 5 foot deep concrete pour to hold your light poles. So those things ain't gonna go anywhere. So one of our 3rd floor units that has been painted. Not everything's been completed. They haven't done the walls yet. But what they have done is they've completed the trim on all the doors. They've done the baseboard, and then they've painted the ceilings. You also see some of the doors here. These are all painted out. And then once our walls are all painted out, they'll reinstall doors, and then next week we'll start installing hardware, and we'll start installing finished plates on stuff like this, stuff like that. Those will all get, you know, finished plates and beauty rings and, you know, finished materials. So that's kind of where we're at in here. Most of our 3rd floor is protected just like you see here. The painters kind of like to do it where they go through all the units, paint all the base, all the ceilings and all the doors, and then they'll come to the back, re-protect, and then they'll do all the walls. So they're planning on loading this building up, this floor up on the weekend to get it done in time for me to come in with my other trades on Monday and start doing finished work. So
Nice.
that's the plan. We're in one of our stairwells right now where we start installing our rubber stair treads and risers. So this is a rubber, like basically plate that goes over top of our framed material. The yellow strips kind of add some brightness so that, you know, you can, sometimes in darker stairwells it's nice to have if you're visually impaired or something like that. So it's only helpful, but this stuff actually glues down straight onto the ground, and they have a two-phase mixed adhesive that basically adheres from wood straight into the rubber. And then of course they've got the riser, mounts the exact same way right onto the face there, you can't see it. And then some of our smaller landings that we have are also doing the same type of material, and it just carries right into that. So pretty straightforward on all of that, but again, it's got a finished look to it, and of course we'll be painting out railings and walls as well, so that's what we're working with. Alrighty, we're on the roof and mainly taking a look at kind of the metal finish caps that we've installed, not only along this edge here, but also on all of our wing walls. So you've got them down there, over here, over there, and there. So mainly just taking a look, and again, obviously we want it to look good. We want it to look, you know, nice and finished. But the primary purpose of anything up here on the roof, you know, from a cap standpoint or roofing standpoint, is to make sure our building's dried in and waterproof so that we're not getting any water leaks. So that's the primary purpose of them. Obviously, you know, they look good too, but that was the primary goal, is to make sure we're not getting any water in our building, and they do a pretty good job. So that's kind of where we're at with it.
So talk to me about the lead time on this type of material. Like, I know we've had quite some challenge when it came to, you know, of course they were able to install the roof, but when it came to, you know, these metal caps and things of that nature, I mean, we were waiting months just to
Yeah.
get to this point?
Yeah, so some of the material, I mean, I can't say exactly why, but there's just a shortage on certain materials for construction in general. And one of the ones that we've run into is this metal edge. Specifically, it's a metal edge that is shaped like an L, and then our roofing material actually, through heat induction, actually does a heat weld to the top of this metal to create a waterproof seal on it. So for whatever reason, this particular metal edge is not in stock. The supplier doesn't have it. And the reason is it's not actually the metal that's not in stock, it's the color dye for the specific dark bronze color that we need. That particular color dye is out of stock, and apparently nobody can get it. And apparently also the only people who make it is the company Duralast. So they, for whatever reason, cannot get a hold of this dye. And so we've been waiting, probably about 2 months for it now, and unfortunately there is no supply date in our future right now. So we're left hanging. It's a large unknown. When we come to the finishing touches of this project, it's an unknown, and so I'm trying to kind of problem solve and look at ways that I can solve the issue before I'm supposed to turn over the building. From a project management standpoint, it's something that I've got to try and problem solve around and figure out a way to make it happen regardless of supply chain issues. I've still got to make a deadline happen, and so we're looking at other ways to possibly get the material and get it installed in time for our finish date. So.
And the good thing is the roof caps are complete, but we still need some trim work done for the railings and the balconies.
Yeah, so the only material we're missing now from a metal coping standpoint is this weldable flange that goes on the edge of all of our decks and all of our balconies. And again, like I said, it creates a watertight seal on that front edge, and it also gives it a finished look. And so, yeah, that particular material just had a very hard time getting a hold of. Most of the brake metal that you see up here, whether it's the caps, whether it's the gutter, the siding, this stuff isn't as hard to get a hold of, and most of the time it's only a couple weeks to get anything made custom, because this is all custom material. This isn't just sitting in a stockyard anywhere. But again, it's only a couple weeks turnaround for most of this material, but for whatever reason, this weldable drip edge is just not in stock anywhere, and unfortunately we're having to wait for it. So
Can you believe it? Somebody stealing porta-johns from a work site that haven't been serviced in over a week. Ew. Unbelievable. I thought I heard it all until I found out that somebody literally stole 2 completely full porta-johns from our site. I am still in disbelief. I am shocked. Like, how do you steal a porta-john from a site? Let alone, these porta-johns were literally on the corridor, like, in full view of traffic driving across East Warren. Somebody literally, I guess, pulled a truck or a trailer up, hopped out, and scooped or, kind of scooted these porta-johns onto their truck or trailer, nasty water swooshing around and spilling on their shoes in the overall process. That is just gross. I am in shock and awe to hear that literally somebody had the audacity to steal some funky old porta-johns from our site. But it definitely gave me a good laugh, and luckily they were able to replace the porta-johns, and we ended up, as you saw in the video, putting them toward the back of the facilities, and eventually we won't need the porta-johns due to at the very least, the commercial space. We're adding bathrooms that the construction crew can use as we wrap up the build out of this site that we're talking about and showing you today. But unbelievable. Somebody literally stealing the Porta Johns. I am still in disbelief. So, anyway, another thing I wanted to point out is we actually had another tenant prepared to sign a lease for food service space. So, if you've been watching our videos, you've seen that we were lucky enough to get a fitness or a health concept or a movement studio, more specifically, in one of our spaces at the Ribbon at East English Village. And this is going to be a really, really cool concept by Lanika, where she's not only doing yoga but kickboxing and a multitude of other things that are meant to keep your body moving, right? And so she's taken up about 2,000 square feet. She's talking with the architect now on how she wants her space designed, eventually getting us to a point where we can get some construction drawings rendered up and sent over to the city in order for us to get some permits approved so we can ultimately build our space out. But we're still looking for a food service tenant. One of the things that the residents of that area demanded of me was to incorporate a restaurant in the space. And so one of my primary goals has been to find a food service that can execute their vision in a way that allows for them to service the community the right way, be consistent with their hours, consistent with their product that they put out, and ultimately give them the ability to have that longevity based off of their experience, the newness of the space, the amount of tenant improvement dollars that I'm willing to kick in on the space build out. For an example, I'm fleshing out the kitchen for the right tenant, and pardon me, it looks like I'm sweating. It's because I am. I got the windows up. I don't have any air in my truck, and contrary to popular belief, not all developers are rich. I'm still driving a vehicle that doesn't have working AC, and I got the windows up so you can hear me as I talk through my thoughts in this video. But at the end of the day, had this tenant lined up, we were working back and forth with this tenant for roughly 2 months, and the day before we were supposed to sign the lease agreement, I get an email stating that they're not moving forward. And this is due to some challenges that they're having on their end, and it's completely understandable. They got some things they need to take care of, and I wish them well, but I am once again left without a tenant for my food service space. And so now I am back to square one in a way, trying to attract some interest from service providers, from food services that have the capacity to be able to execute the visions that they have for themselves and for a new space. A lot of times when people reach out to me telling me they have a concept, one of the things that I ask for is an executive summary. Some type of summary that breaks down everything from your vision to your team to your financials. And I'd say 97% of the people that reach out wanting to open up a space in this facility of ours don't have that in place, which is fine. But if they don't have one, I challenge them to draw one up for me. And, out of the individuals that I challenge to draw up, an executive summary, I'd say probably 1 in 10 do. But at the end of the day, those are the types of things that kind of help us as landlords build confidence in who we're talking with and who we're thinking through ideas with, in order to eventually get to a point where we can have you in our space, right? But with that said, back to square one, and this is not the first time I've been here, right? This is probably the 4th potential tenant that we've come to this conclusion with. And the first few times were pretty harsh on me. I took it hard. All the time and energy you spend in trying to attract that right tenant, and you in turn are left without one, right? And it's pretty frustrating, to say the least. But by the fourth time, it's just another day at the office. And so I do wish that tenant well. I really hope that they have an opportunity to get through what they're going through with regard to their own financial challenges. But at that same point, I'm back on the grind and I'm looking for the right tenant. So more to come on processes that I'm thinking through and strategies in order to attract that tenant. One being with the possible marketing through Motor City Match and their cohort of small businesses that are looking for spaces throughout the city to open shop within. And so more to come on that. But with that said, I appreciate you chiming in and listening to me ramble while I'm stuck in traffic, window up. It's 80 some odd degrees and I'm in here sweating, but I do appreciate you taking the time, listening through all these different videos, watching these different videos, and I'm really hoping they're bringing some type of value to you as you look to level up your skill set or your opportunity within the real estate realm. And with that said, I'll see you next week.